to the Felicia Rashad. Older women are so, everything is about a man. But what they recognize is, yeah, baby, you say that right now. You're independent and all of this stuff. A lot of us go through that in our younger years. But what you realize is there's a reason why Vivica Fox at 60 is talking about settling down.
Pick back up on this because it seems like we got so much to talk about.
Traditionally Untraditional, take 3.
Right. Welcome to another episode of Traditionally Untraditional. Today we are talking about attraction, the psychology of attraction. This topic comes about for a lot of different reasons. But mostly the reason that we're talking about attraction is not necessarily about literally how to be attractive per se, but being intentional. We use this word a lot. It's like our go-to. Being intentional. I think a book is coming out called Be Intentional.
Okay.
I like that. But being intentional about understanding who you're attracted to and why, but then also being intentional about what or who you're attracting. Mm-hmm. Okay. And there is some psychology behind attraction. Is there science behind chemistry? Are we conditioned to seek a specific trait within a partner? Can attraction be consciously controlled? These are all questions that we're going to seek to answer today. Because a lot of people say things like, well, you're attracted to who you're attracted to. You can't change that. I'm attracted to who I'm attracted to. But it's not really true. Everything that happens with us, to some extent, is a choice. Whether or not it's conscious or subconscious, it's just a matter for us to kind of understand where those things lie. So the books we're pulling from today is The Road Less Traveled. We mention that book a lot. It's an amazing book that we suggest everybody read. And in this book, Peck discusses how love is an active choice rather than just chemistry. Another book is Hard Times Create Strong Men. We talked about that book a lot as well. And this discusses how attraction is tied to masculine and feminine energy. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about that a little bit.
All right.
And then we may touch on just not necessarily the 5 love languages, but just how attraction can stem from how well someone aligns with your love language. So in this, here's the thoughts. Attraction is biologically hardwired. Evolutionary psychology suggests we seek traits beneficial for survival and reproduction. Studies indicate that we are drawn to symmetrical faces, pheromones, and specific genetic markers that indicate good health, strong offspring potential. This is one of the things that I used to often talk about with men about in our circles, to ask them jokingly but seriously, why do you like big butts? Right?
Okay.
And I used to say that jokingly, like, what you mean? Because I just like them. Because you can argue with some men like small butts. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But what you find in psychology to this point, there's certain physical features that are on us that indicate that 1, we're in good health, mm-hmm. and 2, we're able to produce.
Okay.
And it's just interpreted differently. It doesn't mean that big butts are better than small butts, but it means that that's an indicator for that person.
Okay.
That hips and butts typically represented in time that a woman was able to have children, of the age of having children, healthy enough to have children. Mm-hmm. But it's not just hips and butt. It goes to, I'm just picking up the woman, it goes to breasts, it goes to teeth, it goes to muscles, it goes to overall youthfulness, which is why people tend to be more attractive when they're youthful.
Okay.
Right? All of these things are associated. We just have different markers. Mm-hmm. Different markers in our brain, and we look at that and we go, that's sexy.
Okay.
That's attractive. But I don't think that we conceptualize that we're wired naturally like that. We may not recognize that a good set of teeth means good health, But somewhere deep down in our brain, it's registered that. You may not even be thinking of having children when you see that woman with thick hips. But somewhere deep down in your brain, it's registering that. And the same is true for women.
Okay.
Just differently.
Okay.
The road less traveled also argues that love is initially driven by subconscious biological impulses before evolving into a conscious choice. This is heavy because this is the initial attraction. And this is why it's important for us to understand these, understand our nature, because sometimes it's important to control your nature. Going back to my hips and butts analogy. Love is initially driven by a subconscious biological impulse. I see something I like, I look at it. Right? I'm intrigued. That's a biological impulse that my brain is going, I'm attracted to that. Now, if you understand nature, you can reel yourself back in and go, but I need more than that. But a lot of us don't understand nature, and we say things like, I don't know. It's just something about her. It's just something about him, right? Man, I don't know. She just do something to me. It's not magic, I promise.
Or rocket science.
It's biology, right?
Okay.
But we do. Man, she got a spell on me. No, she don't. Right? And so sometimes we don't. We talked about this before. Lack of scientific knowledge equals spookism. And so just because you don't understand the thing does not mean that somebody has cast a spell on you. It's just that you don't understand your own biology. And so therefore you can't tame your own biology.
Okay.
So the first thing is the unconscious biological impulse.
I got a word for that.
Go ahead. I got the word too. Go ahead.
Puberty.
Oh, that wasn't my word. Infatuation was my word.
Okay.
But puberty, yeah.
Puberty.
The hormones kick in, and this is when you start being hyper aware of...
It's not a conscious thought. Teenagers, you don't go from, boys got cuties to, ew, boys to, ooh, boys. Nobody had a conscious thought of that. Hormones did that.
Yes.
That's the initial subconscious biological impulse.
Yes.
It's called puberty.
And the reason why teenage love doesn't last a lot of times is because you're responding to a subconscious biological impulse.
Right.
And this is also why when you become more of a mature adult, you start looking back at those past relationships going, why was I ever with that person? What was I thinking about? That was terrible. Biological impulses.
Right.
And you had no ability to control the hormones.
Or to make a conscious decision, as to who to engage with.
Exactly. Now, in the midst of this, though, we have to talk about how modern relationships are complex. And we're not strictly bound to evolutionary programming. Some people don't want to have children. That's a real thing. So we're sitting there talking about you're biologically programmed to look for a woman who have a good child. What if I don't want to have children? So relationships are complex. As gender equality and shifting relationship dynamics show that attraction can be influenced by personal growth, shared values, and mutual understanding rather than purely biological impulses. This is where we want to get. This is where we want to be, right? We want our attraction, and we'll talk about attraction later, to be influenced by our personal growth. Where are you at in life? Shared values. How many times have we talked about that? Mutual understanding. This goes back into the boundaries. And then rather than purely biological impulses. But in layman's terms, you shouldn't be getting with that girl just because she got a big butt.
Or just because she's attractive.
Right? So that's the purely biological impulses, right? And then, of course, with the 5 love languages, somebody that's emotionally compatible with you. Who loves you the way that you want to be loved and that you can love in the way that they want to be loved. So the question is, where I turn it over to you, do we really have a type? Or is it all just social and biological conditioning?
Okay. Do we really have a type? I guess you asked me that because you more so hear women referring to their type than I think you do with men. I'll start by saying it like this. Attraction is like a learned behavior. It is not strictly biological. A lot of the things that you talked about, well, puberty, right? We know that's biological. We can talk about like some of the things that are slightly a biological attraction, right? Of and I've heard that this comes from like programming years ago of, human beings evolving, and the reason why, women can be attracted to powerful men, right? If we used to be hunter gatherers, the men who had the biggest, broadest shoulders and could hunt and kill, the most animals, or farm and produce the most, right? What does that do? That produces security, right? That you're going to be okay. So over time, that looks a little different now in the society that we live in. We're not hunter-gatherers in that way. But there are some biological things that, yeah, I would say that in that way attraction is. But when you're talking about type, we're talking about a lot of times a type that's influenced by our upbringing and culture. Not necessarily a biological type, but more so, and studies actually, psychological studies actually say that a lot of times our attraction is based on media exposure as well. Media exposure, our cultural upbringing, that all shape our romantic preferences, if you will. So I would say that I don't think we really have a type. What we have is conditioning. Okay? And I'll use myself as an example. I didn't have a type in the sense of what I hear a lot of women describing as like physical features, right? Has to be a certain height, a certain complexion, a certain build, right? I hear some really strict defining, types. For me, my type, I was attracted to strong men. And when I say strong, I mean they were, how would I put that? I don't want to use that term that, what's his name? Kevin Samuels and a lot of people have been using.
The alpha male.
Yeah, the alpha male or the high profile men or whatever. Like, I don't want to use that term. But essentially, like, I was attracted to confident men. That's it. Somebody that I could respect. I've never been a dumb woman. You get what I'm saying? And so I've always been attracted to a man that could hold a conversation. Somebody that I could respect, right? But there was no type outside of that. I was pretty fluid. So I hear women literally like turning a blind eye because he's not tall enough. So when you're talking about type, so first of all, to answer that, I would say that our type, a lot of it is just more so social conditioning. But getting into the type, I would say that some of those things are very superficial, and you're cutting yourself off from a potentially good mate. One of the things that you talked about in the books, it says that attraction, I'm sorry, I highlighted it here, is that essentially, oh, I'm sorry, where were we? That love is initially driven by subconscious biological impulses, but before evolving into a conscious choice. I want to highlight that when you become mature, you realize that love is a conscious choice, and who you're attracted to, meaning who you allow yourself to be attracted to, and recognizing the energy that you're giving off and what you're attracting to you, you realize that that's a conscious choice. You can control with the energy that you put out who's even attracted to you. Yeah. So not only can you start to be mature about what and who you're attracted to, but you also can mature and recognize I also have the power or the ability to attract what I want to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Were you going to say something?
Go ahead.
Okay. So anyways, I'll throw this in here. So today, actually, we were talking about a video that was circulating. Now, I don't know when Felicia Rashad was on The Breakfast Club. I didn't look into it. But it was a young woman basically expressing her disappointment in Felicia's last remarks, according to her video. I didn't go watch the Breakfast Club video to see exactly what she said. But according to this young woman's video, she said that Felicia was basically giving advice to women, right? Young women. And she was saying, and the advice was around, how they present themselves, what they wear, things like that. And she said she was okay with that dialogue until it got to the point where Felicia, according to her, made some comments about, and no man likes a woman dressed like, or whatever she said. And she was very adamant to stick on that point where why do these older women always, everything revolves around a man for them, right? All of their advice to young women is about tailoring yourself for a man. She was like, we're in 2025. Have we not moved past that part, about everything being for a man? I do what I do and I move how I move because that's how I want to move, right? Why does your life or your advice to us still, focuses so much on men's preferences and things like that? I'd like to address that, actually. Because I do think that it kind of falls into the type thing because we're talking about attraction. So essentially, the first thing is I can understand where she's coming from. It used to be here in the United States, at least, and there are still some places in the world where this is the case. But it used to be, at least here in the United States, where women didn't have rights. They couldn't own property. They couldn't have businesses. They were very restricted. And so imagine being born into a family. You had sons, right? That's why having sons was very important. Your sons were going to carry on your name, your legacy, take over the family business, X, Y, and Z. But the female children, you need a man to marry them, to take them on, to take care of them. Because socially wise, they can't take care of themselves. Right? So and then hopefully you can marry them into another family with equal or higher means than your family, right? Mm-hmm. So a lot of times women have been used as like that bartering chip to, move on up, if you will. So I think that's where she's coming from because it's like, you're right. So for those females growing up in that time period, their whole world revolved around you have to be presentable in everything that you do and say, your activity, to attract a man, to attract a husband, right? Otherwise, that's the purpose of your life. So that's where she's coming from with that. And I totally would agree with her with that. I have to challenge it, though. And the way I'm going to challenge it is this. Yes, when you're looking at it in that way, that's a problem. But a lot of times what's going on is a lot of times older people are able to see things that in our immaturity we don't see yet, or we don't even realize we're going to value or is going to be an important thing to us. I'll give you an analogy that like with my children, right? And anybody that has children or experienced them, that this is something that they say. They always talk about how they can't wait till they become an adult. I can't wait till I get grown so that I can do whatever it is I want to do, right? Because essentially what the child is saying, they're not really saying that to be able to do whatever it is they want to do. What they're really implying is no consequences, right? So that's what a child is saying. I can't wait till I can grow up and I can eat all the candy that I want to eat. No restrictions whatsoever. I can stay up late. I can binge watch TV. I can drink all the pop I want, eat all the candy I want. I can do whatever I want. And you know what I tell my children? Even as an adult, I can't do everything that I want. There's still laws. There's still rules. I said, if I don't show up to work on time, guess what happens? My boss will fire me. If I show up to work and I don't do a good job, guess what happens? My boss will fire me. If I'm speeding down the road and I speed through a stop sign or a street light, guess what? I'll get a ticket. Maybe even go to jail. I just run down the list of things. I said, you know what? Your body, your metabolism starts to slow down, and guess what? You can't eat everything you wanted to eat. You don't have a rock iron hard stomach anymore. I go through the things of, actually, when you become an adult, you can't do everything that you want to do. And the reason why is because there's a universal thing called laws. The universe already has in writing laws. That makes sense? So that's the reason why when you become mature and you grow in your understanding, you realize those universal laws are called cause and effect. Every response has an equal and opposite effect. Everything that we do has an effect, okay? So going back to this video with this young woman, her point was, I should be able to do what I want to do. I should be able to dress however I want to dress. And she made the point of saying, which kind of tickled me, that, she's saying it like every woman even wants to be with a man. It's women out here that don't want to be in a relationship. It's women out here that are in relationships with women. What then? And I would say to her, the same still applies. It's called boundaries, the rule of attraction. It's called cause and effect. Even you and I have who have friends and other people that we know that are in same-sex relationships. And guess what? They're having some of the same struggles as heterosexual relationships. You know why? Boundaries. The rules still apply regardless of whether you're with the same sex or the opposite sex when it comes to what you attract to you and the universal law of cause and effect.
Right.
There is no difference. And to her comment about, there's women out here who don't even want to be in a relationship. Bullshit. It's bullshit. And the reality is that none of us are born with a desire to be alone. So that's bullshit, right? You're biologically wired to be in partnership with somebody. We all desire partnership.
Right.
So it's bullshit when I hear women, young girls, some of us don't even want to be in a relationship. Yeah, because of trauma, unresolved pain. But nobody starts out like that.
Right.
If all things from puberty on, you grew up in a healthy household with a mother and a father in the home, you saw love and respect and mutual partnership, and then your interactions with, the opposite sex and friends, and, everything had been a healthy, and you got to the point now, the point I'm making is, you're not going to get to the point later on in life and say, you know what, I just think I want to be by myself.
Right.
No, that's not natural. That's not true. So I call bullshit when you say that. Anybody at the point of saying, I just want to be by myself, that's unresolved pain.
Yeah.
It's unresolved trauma. So let's just take that off the table already, because we're biologically wired to be in partnership. Even animals are biologically wired to reproduce and to hook up. And there's some animals who are monogamous, they have a life partner. So that argument, I just throw that off the table already.
We live in a society where we're free to do what we want to do, but you're not free from the consequences of those actions.
Thank you.
And, May says, you can choose the action, but you don't get to choose the consequence. And I remember thinking, like, that is so heavy. And so in this case, you are free to do whatever you want to do. And I don't think that this is not a conversation to control women, but it's to understand how you will be perceived once you're dressed that way. So if a woman says to you, hey, if you're looking for a husband, you should probably dress like this. It's not a measure of control. What it is reverse it. Hey, if you're looking for a job, you should probably wear this too.
That's what I was gonna say when I'm
Yeah,
talking to my children, and I'm like, and they're like and again, they're immature. They're
because
immature in their understanding. Go ahead.
yeah, because going back, because the thing is, you cannot control how I perceive, right? And so it's a tricky, it's a slippery slope, and so
Because essentially what's happening is I'm presenting myself a certain way. And I want you to now perceive me in the way I want you to perceive me, how I perceive myself. But what you're saying is you may perceive yourself one way, but you can't control that the other person perceives it the same way.
and that happens all the time,
Okay.
and and this is why celebrities are big on public image. They're big on public image. And because in order for us to believe who they are on the movies and on the radio, we have to have an idea of who they are. It's not saying be fake, but what it's saying is like when you first interact with that person, they're going to form an opinion. And it becomes hard to change that opinion. And when it comes to relationships, the reality is women need to understand this. You can't change the way men think. We can have 1,000 conversations, but men are very simple. We're not complex. And because of that simplicity, I think that it makes these interactions feel complex to women.
Okay.
Men meets a woman. Instantly, I place that woman in a box. And I think women do this too. Don't get me wrong. I think women do the same exact thing. But when it comes to this relationship thing, this impacts women more. You meet a woman, you place her in a box. Is this girlfriend material? Is this wife material? Is this for the night material? Is this just a friend? Is this just a colleague? Is this just a worker? Right? What's happening here once I meet this woman? And part of my judgment is how she's dressed. And sometimes actions speak louder than words. And so you can be sitting here telling me all about your graduate degrees, your doctorate degree, you're a lawyer, you're professional, you're this, you're that. But in my mind, if you are dressed no different from the stripper, that's the box I put you in, regardless of what you tell me. And that's hard for women to conceptualize. I will entertain whatever you're saying because that's how men are. Oh, man, no, that's good, man. You do for yourself. You independent. I see you. Yeah, you got your own car. You don't need no man. You got your own money. Yeah, but I'm look at how she dressed. I'm not taking her seriously, right? I'm not. And so now I put you in, and from that point forward, it becomes an uphill battle for you as a woman in that relationship. Because now you are pursuing, you call the next day, y'all exchange numbers. You're thinking that you honestly think he heard all about the doctor degree about no. He like, yeah, shorty last night, she was thick, man. She had a dress flowing up. That's all he's not gonna talk about. He's not gonna be like, man, I met this girl last night and man, she had a degree and she was that's not because it's about presentation. Right? And so now he's boxed you to say, this is a woman I would sleep with. This is a woman I would take out a couple times. But this may not be a woman I can marry, right? And that's the once again, there's different types of men. That's the man that's gonna sleep with you. What women don't understand is the man the good guy, however you want to call it. I know it's a terrible term, but I'm gonna use it because we gotta repackage this good guy term.
Okay.
The good guy, he's going to look at you, make the same assessment as the other guy, but because he doesn't want to engage in that, disengage. Right? Hey, how's it going? Oh, you at? Okay, cool. And he keeps it moving. He don't linger around. He's made the same judgment the other guy's made. The other guy's just like, but I'm gonna try to get some. I'm gonna try to sleep. The other guy, he's not interested, so he'll move on. The guy that moved on is the husband. The guy that moved on is the husband. And that in lies the problem with this, because then you stick around with the guy that stuck around with you. And then you end up unhappy. You end up, why I can't meet the right guy? Why can't I meet the person? And part of the reason why you can't meet that person is because he don't want to meet you. right? It's like, so it, this is not a, and I always tell you this. A lot of times, sometimes we shoot the messenger. And I always tell you this, like in these forums and groups and stuff I'm in, I find it interesting. You know, I'm always clicking on profile pictures, looking at who's commenting, who's commenting.
Okay.
And what I need for them to understand is that the man is telling you, man, that dude just insecure, man. What would you wear? You sexy. That dude does not care about you. He does not. The guy that's going, look, sis, you need to put on more clothes if you want to find a good man. You need to. That's the guy that cares. That's the guy that's looking at you from a husband perspective, from a father perspective, from a brother perspective.
Okay.
Because those three things I just named are protector provider roles.
Oh, okay.
Father, husband, brother.
Okay.
Right? Those are the types of men in those things that's going to tell you, yeah, it's not a good look though. You look good. No, you look good. No, you definitely, but
what you're going to attract.
What you're
Men
going to
know
attract.
the type of men you're going to attract.
Man, you're going to attract. And we know that. We're going to say, hey, it's just not a good look. Right? And now, if he insecure, if he's too insecure, okay. But once again, you don't get to choose the consequences. So you may think I'm insecure. Perfectly fine. I move on, you move on with your life. But guess what? I move on, I find a woman who is modest, and I marry her because I perceive her as wife material.
Okay.
I choose her. I get married. Remember what we talked about before, why a woman can be with a man for 5 or 6 years, and then he leaves that woman and gets married in 6 months?
Right.
That's why that happens. Because he meets that woman and perceived her as marriage material.
Right.
Right? And it's like, no, I'm getting married. But I need to also tackle this other side. Because the girl mentioned in that video we watched, she was like, look at Ice-T. Look at his wife. Don't confuse, number one, let's start high up. Don't confuse celebrity relationships for real relationships.
Okay.
They have a different dynamic that I don't got time to go into.
Okay.
Specifically speaking of Ice-T, though, he's a pimp. What?
And she was his bottom bitch.
What?
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Like,
and he's publicly talked about,
this is
deciding to go ahead and marry her.
Like, this is one that, it's kind of like, what do you expect the pimp to marry? First of all, a pimp getting married is a crazy term in general.
Right.
So the way his woman dresses is okay for him because of that. And I would suggest women go and read the book called Pimp. Pimp is you might not know this, but pimps read books on pimping. And the Iceberg Slim, the book called Pimp. He's a very notorious pimp. Born and raised in Rockford, really enough, into Chicago, but in a few other places. But a lot of famous pimps quote him and talk about him. And just so you can understand the psychology of men, I'm using the word pimp, but men who have been with a lot of women.
Okay.
How they interpret these things is not the same as the way a normal, average man that you're going to have access to is interpreting things.
Okay.
Okay? You can't compare, because some of these men, and the reason why I'm saying that is because they're around a certain set of women. You and I was talking about why do so many men sleep with Superhead, knowing she's been with so many men. Like, what is up with this? These are not normal men.
Okay.
These are men who have slept with 2,000, 3,000 women.
Okay.
And so the women they're around are in that life as well. How can they judge them?
Okay.
If I have, I think it was Wilt Chamberlain or somebody said he slept with 20,000 women. I slept with 20,000. How can I be picky? What are you saying? So their reality is different.
So we shouldn't be comparing ourselves to celebrities because you're dealing with an abnormal situation there already.
Very abnormal.
But then I was thinking, but for your relationship reference to be a pimp, and my apologies if she wasn't, but to my understanding, right? I don't know if she was escort. She
was in the life,
around the life, escort. Not necessarily standing on the corner.
Let's be honest.
But a pimp, what do you expect him to marry?
Yeah.
Right? And why is that your relationship reference? Yeah. Okay.
And if they happy, let them be. Ice Cube is an old man. That's whatever, right? That's
okay.
And so it's not a judgment to him, but to your point, but that's your reference?
Right.
So you can dress how you want to dress. In my experience.
Right.
We mentioned Erykah Badu before. Marriage is a culture.
Right.
Those who survive in it adhere to the culture. Right. And so if you're looking for marriage, you start adjusting to the
To the
culture.
culture of marriage. Right.
Going back to work, it's like corporate America.
You adjust to
You
the
have to adjust to the culture of corporate
corporate
America.
America, or you're not going to survive.
Right? You have to. Does it look different? I'm not saying it looks different to everybody. I'm not saying you got to wear a suit and tie to go to work. It looks different to everybody. But you're not coming in there looking raggedy.
Right.
You understand that there is a dress code. There's a level of professionalism expected within this.
Right.
And when you're in a committed relationship, how you dress says your commitment level to yourself. Right? Because once again, the worst recipe is trying to change somebody. And that's what I'm thinking as a man. It's like, you're right. On one end, I'm attracted to this. Wow, she ain't got no clothes on, yada, yada. Okay, cool. And let me be clear. It's one thing if you going out, everybody going out look good. But if that's your norm, that's when it becomes the problem. Because if you go out and you look in a certain way, and let's say I want to look good, go. But understand, this is the conscious part.
I would challenge that. I don't agree with that. And the reason why I say that is part of how you dress is an expression of yourself, right? The outside is just a manifestation of what's going on in the inside, right? And so I would say to that, understanding, it's a couple of things I want to say because you've talked. Understanding that what you are putting out in energy, and you're going to attract an energy to you, period. You can't choose the consequence. You can't unchoose that. You get what I'm saying? It is a natural written law. The energy you put out, you're going to get energy back, period. The maturity is understanding, what energy am I looking to get back? So then how do I need to adjust what I'm giving off to get back what it is I'm really looking for?
Yeah.
That's the first thing, right? I have a friend who dresses very outside of her personality, right? And whenever she goes out, that's why I'm going to disagree with what you're saying when it comes to women. And whenever she goes out, she dresses in a very provocative way that is totally not her personality whatsoever. And guess what? She's single. She'd like to be in a committed relationship. But whenever we go out, she's dressed a certain way. I'm not dressed that way. I see the men she's attracting to her. They're attracted to, they don't know you. They can't scan your brain and see, man, she's got a really good personality. That's somebody I'd like to get to know. They are literally looking at the outside of you. Just like when you go for a job interview, how you sit, how you stand, your posture, the handshake, your smile, your hygiene, your clothes. Are they fitting properly? What color you have on? I am assessing the very outside of you. So literally it's energy that's being exchanged. Attraction, repelling, right? Like atoms. That's what it's like with people. So she's attracting a certain energy. And guess what? The energy she's attracting is not the energy that says probably looking for long-term commitment at some point. Marriage material at some point. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So I disagree with that. Like, it's okay to look good. Sure. Of course, because I always argue that women don't have a healthy balance or of, being attractive without being slutty, right? We have this, we're imbalanced. We're either far left or far right? We either have the idea that, it shouldn't matter if I'm halfway naked or more naked. And what's the alternative for that? Then being a church wife or something to that degree, right?
Right.
There's no healthy middle for us to understand, I don't have to be naked to be attractive, but I also don't have to be, a church mother either. There's a healthy balance to be attractive, but yet maintain modesty is the point that I'm trying to make. Okay. And so anyways, moving on for that. So I just disagree with what you just said there, because she attracts what you're saying. The man who's looking for, I want to engage with that. That's somebody I want to sleep with.
I guess what I'm going with that, though, is, to your point, this person is going out looking. But a woman's going to argue, I'm just going out with my girls. I ain't looking for no man. Right? And I guess my point is, if you're conscious and intentional about what you're doing, then okay. If you dress like that, that's not the night you take phone numbers.
Okay.
Because you understand
Okay. All right.
that they just looking at my ass today. You're conscious of that. You
Okay.
understand.
That's a different way to look at that
Yeah,
then.
because my point
Okay.
is, I just feel like it's unrealistic. I said unrealistic. Some people, it's you got to take baby steps.
Okay.
Some people gonna look in their closet and go, "What you mean?" Right? And so I do think there is a space. I think bigger is just being conscious
Okay.
of what you look like and what you're doing. The same way for the job interview. So I may dress a certain way. It's okay that I dress that way, but if I know that if I'm trying to present a certain image, I'm conscious about how I look. Right? You and I talk about. I'm always thinking about the little things. Right? I'll be like, I need to have a watch. I need to have this because this signals this. I'm always talking about what colors signal what things.
Right.
I'm always talking about
Colors
that.
signal emotions.
Emotions and stability and all of those communication things.
Right.
When I interview for jobs, if I'm doing a remote, it's been a big thing. I'm conscious about what's in my background.
Right. Right.
I'm just not interviewing in the kitchen. I'm making sure that there's a flat wall. I'm making sure there's a picture. I'm letting the interviewer know I'm stable. I'm good.
Right.
I'm not in my car.
Right.
Right. So I'm conscious of what I'm sending out, and I think that the primary issue here is that most people are just not conscious about what they're sending out, and so because you're not conscious, you're like, why am I not getting these results?
Right.
Okay, if tonight is man getting night, you need to know what you're dressed like because you need to know what type of man you're attracting.
Okay.
Going back to our girl, Sprinkle. She said, you should never be drinking liquor. You should never be drinking a beer. She said, get you a little glass of champagne, swirl it, and sip it.
Right.
It's a signal. She's like, because when you drink, she made the point, when you drink beer, when you drink hard liquor, men judge that as something.
Right.
Women came for her. But I'm like, she's right.
Right.
Right? Men, we see it from afar. You in the bar with your guys, whatever, you be like, damn, she chugging it back.
Right.
Right? You be like, you
Right.
still might go holler, but in your back in your mind, you
It's like,
going,
is that really a woman I want to marry?
Right.
Right.
You're
Like
like,
a long-term
no,
relationship?
not at all.
Or that's
right?
somebody to have
if
fun
she
with.
going shot, I may go over there and do shots with her, but in my back of my mind, I'm like, damn, she took them back. Like in my mind, I'm making a judgment.
Okay.
Now, but if a woman is sitting there and she has a martini, what was it? What she say? The lemon drop.
She said a lemon drop martini.
A lemon drop martini, or she's sitting there. With, my first thought is, oh, she's classy. Now I'm approaching her differently. Right? I'm approaching her differently. I saw this TikTok where this girl was like, she says, a guy approached her like, damn, you a fine bald head hoe. Or something. She's like, these men, I can't believe I was just flabbergasted about, and I'm not victim blaming here. Okay. However, what I was thinking was, but this is also goes to how men approach you and the men that approach you, because men in a second will say something like, nah, bro, she a good girl, and I'm not even gonna come at her like that. They don't know that girl. A lot of times they don't. What about her made them say, nah, I'm not going to do that.
Versus you're saying what made a man comfortable with approaching you like that.
Approaching you like, damn, you thick as hell. What's up, shorty? What's good? What's the difference?
Some women may argue it doesn't matter. That man, those men will.
In some meat markets, it don't matter. You're right. If you're in a meat market, you're going to get called meat. But once again, though, the more likely the environment, because once again, our girl talks about that. She's like, where you going to meet, man? She said, cracking up. She was like, you need to be in the bar. I think she said from 3 p.m. to 7, no later than 7. She's like, because men with jobs not there past 7. And I just cracked up laughing because I'm just like, who you meeting at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday?
Right.
He ain't got nowhere to be tomorrow?
Right.
Right. We don't think about that, right?
Right.
And so we don't think about that. Where you're going also plays a big role into this conversation. Can we pause for a second?
I don't even remember where we were. But something that I wanted to mention, Tony Robbins.
Yes.
Sometimes I listen to Tony Robbins, and one day he was making the point of saying, stop trying to reinvent the wheel.
Yes. Yeah.
The will is, and that kind of goes back to what I was saying about the universal law of cause and effect or consequence, right?
Right.
Stop trying to reinvent the wheel. You cannot change some things, okay? And so the point he was making was, anybody listening to him wanting to be successful, right? And he was saying there's a reason why he can talk to a room full of, people who are not necessarily in the same business or venture or things like that, right? It could be presidents that he has counseled, businessmen. The point of the matter is there's a culture. There's a will that's already in motion. And the point he was making was people that are successful at something is because they started to pay attention to the patterns and they realized, I need to jump on that wheel. They get on that with the pattern is already set, it's already in motion. He said people that are successful is because they're mature enough to recognize, I can't reinvent this. It's
Right.
already going. And so, and that's something that I'd like to apply to that when it talks about the culture of marriage or the culture of a committed long-term relationship. That's a wheel that's already going. You can't reinvent that. And a mature woman will start to recognize, if I want to have that, there's a culture that I need to jump on with that. Right?
Yes.
So it's not about going back to the Felicia Rashad. A lot of times it's not that, older women are so, everything is about a man. But what they recognize is, yeah, baby, you say that right now, you're independent and all of this stuff. Well, a lot of us go through that in our younger years. But what you realize is there's a reason why Vivica Fox at 60 is talking about settling down.
Yeah.
We're biologically wired to want to be with somebody, to find our person. And a lot of times all older women is saying is, time will pass you by
Yeah.
if you're not intentional with what you're doing with yourself and
Right.
what you're attracting. That's all she was. I didn't watch the interview, but that's what I would say. Respond to that woman.
Yeah. I think she was talking to Charlamagne the God, and there's always these conversations about hip hop and culture
Okay.
and whole culture and
Okay.
music and yada yada yada. This thing about the older you get, the more you realize that every generation will say that the younger generation is so much wilder than we were, right? But there's always wild people amongst the youth, and like to your point, and there's always been people who've been able to find happy, successful relationships, and there's always been people who didn't, and they've always looked the same.
Yes.
Going to the club is not new. The boom boom room ain't new.
Right.
Different names, right? Twerking ain't new. Whether it's twerking, doing the butt,
Right.
or whether it's what they call not swing dance, but you see in the movie, the old school movies, right? What they're doing, it's the same thing. It's
It was
like,
swinging.
and so now, do you think those men in the swinging clubs was marrying those women? Probably not.
Right.
Right. They went home to the good girl. They went home and married, and it's because men have an ability to separate those things. And it's fortunate or unfortunate, depending on how you look at it, but men can separate sex from family. And so when they're looking at the woman at the bar with the champagne glass, whether or not this is true, and this goes back to the perception thing, it doesn't have to be true to be perceived. They perceive and say, she would be a good mother. She would be a good wife. She would be somebody, because men like to have somebody to be, perceived, a value on their arm. Right? She's somebody I can show, the age old. I can bring her home to mama.
Right. Right.
Right? And so men think about those things. And we can separate the girl who we're not bringing home. We can easily, I'm going to have my fun with you.
I know we're talking a lot about men's perception, but I do want to address women's perception of ourselves. And I think that that's important, because you're right. As a woman, my day to day is not what do other people think and what does a man think, right? But my own set of values, right? you'll see that a lot of times women will, why is it that you'll have women who be on the wild side, however you want to interpret that, but then the moment that they become mothers, they tone it down. Why? It's their perception of, I think we all know right from wrong. I think we all know good from bad. We like to pretend that things don't matter, but a lot of times we know what we're doing is not right. We know how we're dressing is not okay. And I think that we have a natural inclination to want to set the best example for our children.
Yeah.
Right? So let's just cut it right there, right? So the reason why you now start to tone it down a little bit is because you're representing what you want your daughter to be. You're representing what you want your son to be attracted to. Your idea to your son of what a good woman is. Your idea to your daughter of what you should aspire to be as a good woman. So I think even with that, I would challenge, like, we know that the way we dressing is not okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I guess for me, the biggest thing is, like you said, do what you want to do, but stop complaining about what you're attracting to you. You cannot control the consequences. Nope. Period. And there's something about this generation too, and it that literally thinks they can control the consequences of everything. That they should be able to do and go and say and whatever they want, and there should be no unpleasant consequences. That's what you're saying.
Right.
And that's just not reality.
It's not reality.
You can't reinvent the wheel. There are consequences for everything. So I guess that's all I'm saying is when it comes to this, we've kind of gotten off the topic. We were talking about, do you really have a type or social conditioning? But I mean, I think it fit though, but essentially we have to mature.
Yeah.
We have to grow and we have to mature and cut this baby understanding out. You get what I'm saying? There are consequences. You can choose to do whatever it is you want to do, dress however it is you want to dress. But ma'am, at the end of the day, stop complaining if you can't find a good man. You have to start looking in the mirror.
Mm-hmm. Next topic. We got. We gonna move on to questions or?
All right. Next topic. Were we forbidden attraction and taboo desires? How long are we at?
I'm not sure, but I think we're almost an hour in.
Okay, let's go to some of the audience questions. Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. This is a good one. Are we addicted to toxic relationships because they feel like home?
I don't know about home, but I do think that we're addicted to the excitement. I don't know about home. I do think that some people are comfortable in toxic relationships because it feels like home, because they grew up in toxic environments and they think that these things are normal. But then I also think that there is a sense of excitement that comes with toxic relationships.
Okay.
In the person, in the chase, and kind of everything that kind of goes on with that. And I think it's one of those things that we keep talking about. You need to assess yourself to figure out why. If every relationship you're in, a person does X, then it's probably you. Whatever X is, right? Whether that it says cheating, whatever the case may be, whatever it is, you probably need to assess, why am I attracting people like that?
You know what? I want to piggyback off of what you were saying there. What we didn't go into was forbidden attraction and taboo desires, right? And literally this fits with what you're talking about. Again, we are biological creatures. We have hormone releases. So it's psychology studies show that forbidden attraction is often fueled by dopamine surges. Dopamine is a hormone that's released from the brain that makes you feel good. It gives you a high, right? And we can take manufacture dopamine in the form of drugs.
Yeah.
Okay, but it gives you a high. Forbidden relationships, forbidden attraction, or some of these toxic relationships that we find ourselves in. The reason why we find ourselves back there is because it's a release of dopamine in our brains. We get addicted to it.
Yeah.
And essentially what a couple of the books that we've read talk about is that it leads to a cloud of judgment and irrational decision making.
Yeah. This is real. This is real. I also, I always talk about how sometimes we have these TV fantasies of people that don't exist.
Okay.
Where it's like we want. It's like for men, we say the freak in the sheets, lady in the street, freak in the sheets, and we and I always joke like, how did she become the freak? You know what I'm saying? It's like if she was a lady in the streets, how did she become a freak?
Right. Uh-huh.
They're oxymoron statements. And for women, it's kind of when you want the righteous thug.
Right.
Right. Where it's like he in the street, he doing his thing, but somehow or another he comes home, he's a faithful husband, boyfriend, takes care of his children. Right. It's like neither one of those things are in. Neither one of those
they
things,
can't exist in the same space at the same time.
And the only thing that can happen is a person can pretend to be that for a period of time until it crumbles. Right? Or if you're listening to this and you feel like, well, I am, you don't have a correct understanding of yourself. This goes back to my point.
Okay.
Because I meet a lot of, I'm just going to speak for men. I ain't going to get beat up by women. But I meet a lot of men who think they're great men who they're not. They're just not.
Well, elaborate more. What do you mean?
Because going back to my point, it's like, part of being a great, it's like, let's how we always talk about like the I take care of my kids spiel.
Okay.
The men do.
Yes.
My kids love me. I take care of my kids. And when you're looking at their life though, being there for your kids, kind of like I said for financial, is being there for them in the past, present, and future. Right? And so what are you doing to set up their life for success? Now, a kid, all things considered, is going to love their parent regardless because that's their parent.
Right.
If you haven't done anything per se to make them hurt them. But being a good man or being a good father is, are you preparing your children for the future?
Okay.
Are you, in part preparing them for the future, is what does your life look like? Right? What does your savings, your retirement, structure, house, right? All of those things look like. And if you are, number one, doing criminal things to get your money, whether you're selling drugs, you're scamming, you're setting yourself up for prison. You're going to be locked up sooner or later. Never fails. If you're not doing those things, but you're just not working, well, once again, you're not providing a stable structure for your family.
Right.
And so now, going back to my point, you may think I'm there for my kids, and you're just talking about physically there, but you're not as good as you think you are.
Okay.
And that's what I mean by that. And so now you're getting into it with your baby mama. This is what happens. And now the mother of your children is like, you don't do this, you don't do that, because what she's complaining about is she's, as an adult, sees that you are not stable in providing the structure and the things needed for this child.
Okay.
The child don't see it yet. The child just sees dad. Man, my kids love me. I don't know what she's talking about. But when them kids become adults, they're going to be like, man, dad was kind of a bum. They're going to look back like, wait a minute, dad was kind of, I mean, once again, all things considered, this is you being not hurting, not harming. They're going to be, he was kind of, he wasn't really, And so that's what I mean by that. It's like, you have a perception of yourself that's not real. And I think that, I said I wasn't going to talk about women, but I think the same thing is true for women. I see a lot of women who perceive themselves as being the lady, if you will. And once again, as a man, judgment, however you want to see it, I look at you and I go, oh.
Being classy, you
being
mean.
classy.
They think they're classy.
They think they're classy. And I'd be like, you actually not. Right? Not my place to say, I mind my business. But the thing is, it's like, it's almost like, how, I'm trying to find a better example.
Okay.
But I talk about this all the time. It's like, when people are in something, when you are something, you can easily identify when somebody's not something.
Okay.
right? And the best example I can give is we talked about before, like being a scholar. I'm someone who's done history, who's done, some research, has done some academic work. And when you run into another academic, it's like almost like that person's an academic. It's like, oh, okay. And you guys start talking. You have a reference for studies, especially if you're in the same field. It's like if you're in the same field of study, it's like this is everybody knows these sets of studies,
Okay.
right? And
Okay.
everybody knows these sets of studies,
Okay.
right? In any profession you have that. You as a nurse, you run into another nurse. There's certain terminology that you just like, oh yeah, bah, 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 boom. And if you run into that person and you're like, oh yeah, blah, and they go, what's a stethoscope? You're like, what you say? And you may say that you may like maybe they just new to this. Maybe and you start probing a little bit, right? You're like, so you was a nurse where and what did you do? And we do the same thing. Oh, what did you study? What did you say? And then you walk away like they ain't know. They said that they really was a. It's the same thing with class.
Okay.
People who are higher class, whether we want to say it or not, class is not referring to money. We're referring to a standard of life, a morality and discipline. People who are of a higher class of discipline easily recognize. You seen in the movies the tea sippers, and they sitting there like, I put my coffee in my, and we being fictitious about it, and that person comes along and they don't know what a fork is, and they don't know which one is the knife fork or the salad fork, and they're fumbling. That's a sign to us like you don't know the salad fork from the steak fork. Okay, we're taking note, right? And it sounds silly, but you start noticing these little things, right?
Okay.
Like, oh, so you don't, right? I would never, this comedian, I forget his name. He talked about how as he rose in class, we're talking about money here, but it's a point here. Say he went to a real steakhouse. Say he had never went. He said, he had, when he say he didn't have money, grew up poor. He said he took his dad. He said, so his dad orders a steak. He was like, he told his dad, get the most expensive steak on the menu. So he orders the steak, and he says, so the dad is sitting around, he's looking, and he says, I need some A1 steak sauce. And he's like, oh, I'll ask. So he calls the waiter like, hey, waiter, can I have some A1 steak sauce? And the waiter kind of looks at him like, is there something wrong with the steak? And he's like, no. I just want some A1 steak sauce. I eat my steak with A1. I never had a steak without A1 steak sauce. And so the waiter kind of looks at him. It's like, okay, I'll be back. He leaves. The chef comes out to the table. Sir, is there a problem? I just want some A1 steak sauce. Is there a problem with the steak? No, the steak is fine. I just want A1 steak sauce. And he said it's disrespectful to put A1 steak sauce on this steak. And the guy said, I was embarrassed for my dad. I was looking around like, look, I didn't even know it was that was a sign to them. What you A1? What do you mean? They're the little things.
It was a sign to them. Oh, you knew money.
You knew money. Why are you asking for A1? That steak is done. Is there a problem with the steak? Why are you trying to put sauce on it? Right? And so a lot of times people perceive themselves as being higher than what they are. And the people in the higher, they're not going to say nothing to you. They're just going to be like, oh, okay. They're going to perceive it. And so that's the other thing. It's like, so I'm a this. We always, it's kind of like one of the reasons why we talked about we don't like alpha male and stuff like that is because
the term
is because it's self-proclaimed. I'm an alpha. Who gave you that title? Because real alpha males are not worried about their title. They're just alpha. You know what I'm saying? They're like, you got to keep. Well, I'm the king of the jungle.
Right.
Okay, all right.
Who you trying to convince?
Who you trying to convince?
Right.
Because when the king of the jungle comes in, there's no need to announce.
Right.
The king is here.
Right.
Everybody recognizes. And so it's the same thing with everything else. If you are what you say you are, there's no need to announce it. But 9 times out of 10, you are not who you think you are.
Okay. Let's go to another one. Let's touch on this one. Do women choose partners based on financial security more than love? And is that wrong?
My thoughts all over the place on this one. Because yes and no.
Okay.
I think that women there's a couple of things. Women are attracted to financial stability. Let's start there.
So are their parents.
And the parents, yes. So let's start there. Let's just
Let's be
and being
real.
attracted to financial stability is not a bad thing. That should be one of your lists. One thing on your list, right? Like, right? I think it becomes problematic when it becomes transactional.
Okay.
That's the caveat to that.
Okay.
So it should be a part of your list of things you're looking for in a mate, but it should not be the deciding factor. Right?
Okay.
Like a part of my list should simply be financial stability. That's on my list, right?
Right.
It's in general.
Right.
But I'm not just getting with a man because he has financial stability, and that's where it becomes the transactional
Okay.
relationships, and you
Okay.
find yourself the sugar daddy, sugar mama, sugar baby situations, or you find yourself unhappy. So I
Becoming a
don't think,
kept woman.
yeah. And I think there is probably hinted in this is the idea like, see, these women are gold diggers. It's like, it's not necessarily gold digging if this is one of your requirements. This is financial stability. Now, I do think you need to be realistic about that, right? And you also need to understand, this is a new thought. If you're interested in financial stability, you should probably seek to have financial literacy. Because I think that a lot of people are mistaken a person to be financially stable, and they're not. They're just
Hood rich.
hood rich. They just front
Flashy.
flashy, but no financial stability is actually there.
Right. Right.
That guy pulled out a wad of money. He got a fancy watch. I think that a classic story is with Sierra at Russell Wilson.
Oh, yes.
And they was going on dinner. He said he pulled this wallet out on the table, and she looked at it like, that wallet old. And he looked at her like, well, what you mean? She like, I mean, you say you got money. I mean, why your wallet so beat up? Why your wallet? And he had to say to her like, I had money before I was in the NFL. And it was like, huh? But when you think about the type of man she was used to dating, and not to pick on her, but they would have had a Gucci wallet. They would have had a Louis Vuitton. They'd have been trying to show the entire night, I got money. I got money. I got money. Look, I got money. I got money. And she's with Russell, who money is not new to him. He's not even thinking about it. He probably like, I had this wallet for 10 years. What do you mean? He's not even thinking about, let me impress you with how fancy my wallet is.
With material things, right?
And financially stable men are typically not flashy. Repeat that. Financially stable men are typically not flashy. It is a hard concept. That man will be in a pickup truck, blue jeans and boots, and have more money in the bank than you can imagine. He will not have a fancy watch. He will not have rims on his car. He will not, as they say, there will be signs, because everybody has their guilty pleasure. There might be signs.
Okay.
Everybody got their guilty pleasures. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
You in Texas. You might have some $500 pair of boots on. He may have, there will be signs, but typically financially stable men there's a reason why they're stable.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Alrighty. We can leave it at that.
all right, we leaving it?
We leaving it.
All right.
We leaving it at that. Alrighty. So key takeaways from this episode of attraction. The psychology of attraction. Why do we fall for certain people?
I think the key takeaways is be intentional. It's understanding that your attraction, you have to be intentional about who you're attracted to and who you're attracting. And if you're not intentional, you're just going to get what you get.
Yeah.
And you're going to be disappointed, and you're going to be dissatisfied. And as you said, time will go by and you'll wonder, why can't I find that right one?
Right.
It's like, you have to be very intentional and conscious about that. And take advice from older people. It may come off as rough sometimes. They don't know how else to talk. They grew up in a generation where softness was not a thing. So they may just tell you, you're dressing like a hoe. You're like, what?
Right.
But they're telling you, or what you say your grandma used to say, you're advertising.
Advertising. She said, who you advertising for? Like, what?
Right? They say things in that way, but, take a look at it, because if you're not being intentional, you may get lucky. Don't get me wrong. But probability versus probability. We will keep saying that. You have to be intentional about your life. You have to be intentional about relationships. You have to be intentional about attraction. And if you're finding yourself in toxic relationships and unfulfilling relationships, take a break. Be single. And as you're single, look in the mirror and try to figure out why you're attracted to those things. So I'll leave it there.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. As always, we encourage our viewers to go online, to like, to support, but also you can drop your thoughts, your questions. You can share a story. We love to share those, read through those, and you never know, we might ask one of your questions on our segment. So, again, thank you for listening to Traditionally Untraditional, and we'll see you soon.
All right. See you soon. Bye.